Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. This is lovely. This is really nice.
I'm so happy with it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I need to take a quick photo,
Sure.
just your hand and the
Okay.
neck and the signature. It's the first one, by the way.
First one of the day?
First one like that.
Oh, wow.
Delivered. There you go.
Thank you. This is so special. Thank
It
you
is
so
very
much.
special. Here we go. Congratulations.
Thank you. You have a lovely day.
You too.
Thank
Lovely
you.
meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone! So we're finally at the last chapter of the Takashi Murakami and Louis Vuitton 20th anniversary celebration. This collection means a lot to me personally because 20 over years ago I started my career in fashion with Louis Vuitton, and that was during the time of Marc Jacobs. J-Lo was the ambassador. We launched the Suhali leather and of course the very memorable Murakami collaboration. Although I worked with the brand back then, it just wasn't within my means to pick up a piece from the collection. I was young and saving up, and so I've just always admired the collaboration and thought that someday when we do go to Japan, I would definitely pick up a Murakami vintage piece there. So when I first heard that LV was going to launch a 20th year celebration collection, I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be so epic. On top of the fact that, you know, it's been more than 2 decades since I worked with the brand, it's going to be a collection that's so dear to my heart, but also so interesting to see what new designs would be in the collection or any interpretation of the original pieces as well. So I really wish that I could get just one piece from this collection, just one piece. And fast forward to the first drop, we have the multicolor Superflat. And I completely missed the boat with this one because I was umming and ahhing on what piece I would like for my collection because I only intended to get one. And I took too long to decide, and when I finally decided on the one that I loved the most, it was completely sold out. That was entirely my fault for not having planned in advance because, to be honest with you, I haven't shopped in Louis Vuitton for a really long time, so I don't have an established relationship with any of the client advisors, wasn't able to put through a pre-order or wish list, was just gonna go at it as a nobody and try my luck buying it online or even in store, knowing full well that there was going to be a huge demand for this collection. So I kind of accepted my fate, like, you know, this is not meant to be, but I did go into the store here in Sydney just to have a look and see what they had, and also to try on the piece that I really, really love. Unfortunately, they didn't have that on display, but they did have some of the other Murakami multicolor and Superflat, so strictly just to try on. So I got to touch and feel a little bit, but I was also comparing Monogram Speedy 20 and 25 just to compare sizes in preparation for the Cherry Blossom Speedy 25. So that was the next thing that I was possibly eyeing on for the second drop, but I still had my heart set on the first item from the first drop. Then came the second drop for the Cherry Blossom. So I went into store and they did have the Speedy 25 for me to try on, as well as the On The Go PM, which surprisingly I quite liked compared to the Speedy 25. I think the Speedy 25 was just a little bit too large for me. I really wanted to get something in the Cherry Blossom print, maybe even just a card holder, but unfortunately it was all out of stock, and again I took a little bit too long to decide because I wasn't 100% sure. So I thought to myself, nah, it's just not quite there yet. It's beautiful and I love the Cherry Blossom print, I really do, but it just wasn't the right pieces for me, on top of the fact that the Speedy 25 strap was also not adjustable. Just all these minor details felt like, nah, this just isn't the one for me. So I came to the conclusion that I would probably go back to my original idea of shopping vintage Murakami from Japan because I was not interested in drop number 3. the cherries. Fast forward to 2 days before the launch of cherries, I decided to go online just to have a browse to see what the Australian market is getting, even though cherries was not on my wish list. And then I found out that some of the multicolored Superflat pieces were back in stock. And so this happened. I am not at all surprised, nor am I disappointed that I didn't get packaging. There's been so much packaging drama. And to be really honest with you, I worked with the brand more than 2 decades ago. It was a time where there was no e-commerce. It was a time when we don't even get half the people we see right now dressed in luxury. There was no queue in the boutique for Murakami back then. So the magnitude of the project now is so different from when it was 20 years ago. It is no excuse to not have sufficient packaging, but I think I'm just happy to have what's inside. It would have been nice to get packaging, but it's more a want and not so much a need. The need, however, is in here. I have not unboxed a Louis Vuitton piece in more than 10 years, so this means so much to me. Here we go. I feel like this is quite an unpopular piece because I haven't seen many reviews of it on YouTube, but it is one of the pieces that I tried in store, so probably not surprised, but here we go. Ta-da! This is my first ever pochette accessoire. Believe it or not, for someone who's worked with the brand, back in the days, we used to say that when a girl gets her first paycheck, this would be the entry-level Louis Vuitton bag that she would purchase, just the regular pochette accessoire monogram. If you would go to Singapore, for example, you would see all the girls walking up and down Orchard Road with a pochette accessoire. It was almost like a symbol of, I've made it, I've graduated, I've got my first job. And that was the pochette accessoire. But to be able to secure this special edition panda one, oh, it's so pretty. Let me try to focus. Let's have a look at the inside. Oh, the lining is beautiful. And we've got the leather strap, the short leather strap, as well as this special chain. And I'm not usually a fan of chain straps. I'm more a leather strap girl, but I do love that these ones are a little bit different. And they've got Louis Vuitton on these ball connectors as well, so really nice. And let's have a look at the inside. It's a beautiful fuchsia pink, I would say. And you've got the special Murakami leather tag there, made in Italy. So I figured that they may have had new stock come in, or a rebalancing of stock from other stores. I am not a fan of the multicolor. I'm actually a fan of Murakami's characters, so the panda, the cherry blossom, the onion head, and I guess if you consider the cherries as well, even though it's my least favorite, but the actual cherry instead of the black and the white multicolor. So I was never gonna pick up any one of those pieces, and this was actually not my first favorite piece from the collection. That is still out of stock at the moment, and I'm hoping that it will come back in stock, or I will be able to find it pre-loved. I don't mind getting pre-loved or vintage at all, but this was my second favorite, and the one that I tried in store. And I remember trying in store thinking, can't you sell it to me? And they were like, oh no, sorry, it's, you know, display stock only. So I completely understand, but it was nice to be able to just try it on first. So I'll include mod shots of me with this pochette accessoire. It's just such an iconic Murakami character. And what I love about this edition compared to the original one was the pochette accessoire from 20 years ago had a little panda on the canvas, whereas this one's got a leather piece by itself. And I love that it sticks out a little bit, so it's giving it more like a 3D effect. Definitely such a statement and collector's piece. I love it. I really love it. I also really love the panda on the capucines. That's so amazing. I mean, the price is whew, but so amazing. So yeah, that's my first ever Murakami piece. On to the most unexpected part of this entire Murakami journey, the cherries. So while I was on the website and I secured the panda pochette accessoire, I was browsing through the cherries, and I have a couple of friends who are really interested and waiting for this drop as well. So we were chatting a lot, and to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of the cherries as much as the Superflat and Cherry Blossom, because when there's too many cherries and it's just repeated on a canvas, it's just not to my liking, and I think doesn't quite suit my aesthetic. But when I browsed through the product listing and found that there were items with just a pair of cherries, I thought, oh my gosh, that is so cute, especially when it's larger on a product and the facial expressions is a little bit more obvious when it's a bit bigger in size. So there was one item I really liked, but I wanted to be sure that it would fit my essentials because I don't currently have any version of that in my collection. So I went into store and was able to try it on in a classic monogram canvas, and I was really impressed that it fit quite a bit more than I expected, and most importantly, it fit my phone. So I thought, oh, should I give it a go? I had set out on this journey determined to only have one piece, and at that time I hadn't received my pochette accessoire in the mail yet. I was really happy that I had already secured that, so I was like, do I really want a cherry in my collection? But I had 2 days to think about it, and having a couple of nights to really think it through. It's not an item I currently have in my collection. It is classic, and if you have this Louis Vuitton City Bags book, this is a beautiful book. I've had this many years now. It's got the history of all the city bags, and it's got Murakami and Kusama in it as well as all the other collaborations. I'm not really on a quest to collect everything that's on this cover, but have somehow ended up with quite a few pieces. So if you can guess, the cherries is in a version of one of these city bags, just a different size. So anyway, launch day, we weren't given a time when things would be available for purchase. So everything was just marked as coming soon between my friends and I. I had a friend who was refreshing the page since midnight, but I didn't want to lose sleep over it. Again, my motto is always, if it's meant to be, it will be. And I have already my Porsche accessoire that was on the way, so I was really very happy and pleased with that. And so the cherries was just going to be an additional bonus, and if I didn't get it, maybe I would be a little bit sad, but not extremely disappointed. So I had the page open, my friends had it too, in and out of meetings, getting things done. I was working on a client's order, and I just happened to hit refresh on the page. A lot of the items were still coming soon, and then some had turned from coming soon to notify me, which seemed like it had already gone live and had already been out of stock, and so it's notifying me. Not quite sure how the process works, but then I kept refreshing and refreshing, and after a couple of minutes, the item that I wanted had add to shopping bag, and I was in a bit of a disbelief because I was like, is this really happening right now? And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I added it to bag. At the same time, I was texting my friends going, it's live, go, go, go. And they were texting back saying, it's not live for me. I don't have any luck here, because they were looking at different items from what I was looking at as well. So in the midst of all that, I decided to proceed with the checkout. I paid, but I got an error message on the website. It said that my card was empty and that the payment couldn't go through. And so I was like, I guess I missed out. But then when I checked my banking, there was a pending payment. And so I was like, maybe it did connect and the website glitched. And so I waited, and in a couple of minutes later, I got the email confirmation from Louis Vuitton, and it said, thank you for your order, or something along those lines. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I got the item. And so I was still a bit like, not quite sure about this, because then, you know, you got the statuses, right, where it's like, I think awaiting authorization or something like that, and then it gets to the point where it's ready for shipping and or being prepared for shipment. In any case, I was just waiting, and in a few hours on the same day, it processed to being shipped, and I was like, ah. And so this morning, this very, very happy bag arrived. So the first thing that everyone's been talking about is how glossy and shiny the cherries are, and I'm actually a fan of that. I think this is a really nice touch and something different from the original one. Not sure why they did special packaging for the cherries and not cherry blossom, but I do appreciate this. It's such a happy print, and it's funny because I did say I'm not a fan of it repeated. On a paper bag, it's fine. I think it just gives you joy that, oh, you know, your purchase is here. It's great on a box and everything as well. I just don't think I could do it on a bag that I would be carrying quite often. Let's see if I got the box packaging as well. So on the website, it did say that selected items would get the packaging, and oh, there you go. I've got a little sample perfume. This is actually, well, the Panda was actually my first e-com purchase ever, so this is all very new to me, by the way. I should turn it this way. Yay! We've got a box, and we've got a ribbon, and we've got Panda gift tag. Alright, let me put the bag down. Oh my goodness. She's pretty. I wish I could get this for myself as a Christmas gift. It just looks so Christmassy to me. But yeah, we've got packaging. I can't believe how much this whole Murakami collection, how much the packaging means to all of us. But yes, let's unbox this. This is the new box. I've seen this in some videos. I think you're meant to press in. Not sure if I'm gonna do it right. Oh. There we go. Oh. I'm not expecting tissue in it, so it's probably just going to be the dust bag. Oh. It's kind of peeping out of the dust bag, so let me put it back in. Oh my goodness, it's cute. It's so cute. It's a really big box for this little beauty. Alright, here we go. Are we in focus? Here we go. Ta-da! Oh. Hello. Hello. Elma Nano Cherries collection. And she's double-sided. Yay! So the double-sided thing was only something I realized the night before launch date, because I was going through the photos, and you know there's been some discrepancies on the website as well where the item descriptions don't match the photos, and then the product comes with adjustable and not adjustable strap and all that. So I was looking through the photos, and then I realized that there was a hero shot from the front, and then there was another hero shot at the bottom that didn't have Louis Vuitton on the bottom, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's the back of the bag. So one of the concerns I had was where the strap, where the handle would flop down and block the cherry. And so when I tried the classic monogram one in store, I took a photo of the bag straight up, and then with the photos online of the cherries, I started counting where the monogram motifs were to kind of gauge where I think the cherries would be and where it would drop, and determined that if the handle is by itself like that, you will cut straight through the middle of both cherries. However, when you have the strap, the crossbody strap on, and it kind of pulls that up, and so when you're wearing it across your body, it should show both cherries pretty well. So I'll give you some mod shots as well, so you'll be able to see that. For reference, I'm 158 centimeters tall, or 5 feet 2. The other thing as well is, like, when the model's modeling it on the website, the handles are up even though she's wearing it crossbody, but I guess we all know that eventually that's going to happen when you're wearing it crossbody. But yes, a bit of close-up. So this is the new cherries on the monogram canvas, and it's glossy and it's slightly raised. It reminds me of, do you know those glossy jelly type stickers? I mean, not really jelly, but they're raised like that, stickers that we used to have in the 80s and 90s, and you know, we'll stick it everywhere on our pencil case, in our books. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. So let me try to focus. Yeah, it has that similar sort of effect. So being new technology as well, I'm not sure how the wear and tear will be, so that's another concern. But being Louis Vuitton, I trust that their after-sales service will be able to deal with it should the cherry start peeling off or wearing in a way that it shouldn't. Let's open the bag really quickly. So we should have an adjustable strap. Yes, an adjustable strap is so important. So important for it to sit just where you want it to. And in there we've got the beautiful red lining. I just love a touch of red like this. Like, I'm not necessarily a whole bag in red person, but little touches of red like this that's subtle, and you know, you see it when you open the bag. It's such a joyful thing to see, and it also makes finding your items a lot easier. And inside you can see the 20th year anniversary Murakami Louis Vuitton. It's got the 4 characters, and this bag is made in France. Ooh, this is really good and smooth zipping as well. Yeah, that was another one of my concerns with the Alma Nano that I tried in store. It was actually really difficult to zip and unzip with one hand. I had to kind of like tug at it, but this one, I'm so glad this one's so much smoother. But on the underside is the monogram canvas. And there you go, she's a really cute one. And I'm so happy that this is the Alma, the first Alma in my collection. So here are my 2 loves from the Murakami 20th anniversary collection. They're both very unexpected purchases. I didn't think that this one would come back in stock, and I most certainly didn't think that I would like cherries, let alone be able to secure this, because after I added this to cart and the site just glitched on me, I wasn't able to add another one in stock. It went back to notify me, so it was just not available anymore. So I'm so blessed to be able to secure this one. I think this is quite an unpopular one, and this one quite a few people have been able to get online, so I hope that you get what your heart desires. I will still be looking out for the first item that I love. I hope it comes back in stock, and if it doesn't, I'll be looking at the pre-loved market, and if I do find it, I would love to do an unboxing as well. So I might do videos on what fits in my bag, since this is my first Porsche accessoire and this is my first Alma Nano. So thank you so much for joining me today, and sending you all the good vibes and all the positivity as we wrap up this very memorable, to say the least, Murakami 20th anniversary Louis Vuitton collection. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.